Let's turn now to that forecast. 70 degrees out there, pretty comfortable. Had to dodge a little bit of sprinkle action earlier this evening, Brad.
Just a quick moving line came through right around dinner time, 6 o'clock. But the one thing you notice, the temperature is pretty mild out there, but the dew points are starting to creep up once again. So getting more humid. Isolated late day storms, get used to that pattern. That's going to stick around. And temperatures more summer-like over the next several days into the weekend. We've had a very mild start to the season. The whole pattern is not very summer-like right now. The fact that we have these strong storms in the southeast, now you see thunderstorms in the southeast in the summer, but this was more of a early to mid-spring setup with tornadoes, hail, and all kinds of severe weather across the deep south. That's typically more climatologically normal for the northern and central plains this time of year, not the southeast. We start getting into the air mass thunderstorms, which are those storms that bubble up in the heating of the day, and they're just typical with the heat and humidity. Now, that wildfire smoke we had last week, we got a break from it, but remember, there are still widespread fires burning in western and eastern Canada. The western wildfires now starting to pick up smoke and affecting the Midwest and the Great Lakes. We're going to have to keep an eye on that smoke plume because as the flow churns out of the northwest, we might begin to see some of that haze as well. The difference is when the smoke is coming from the western part of Canada, the smoke is more elevated. It's more vertical in the atmosphere, except for not near the surface like in eastern Canada. It's all the proximity to us. But again, those fires aren't going out anytime soon. This is going to be a summer-long issue with those fires up there. And anytime the wind shifts, we could see some hazy skies down here. There's that severe weather risk tonight, continues along the southeast and the Gulf Coast. And again, the next couple of days, the southern plains and the southeast into northern Florida is going to be the hot spot for severe weather over the next 3 days, all the way through the end of the week. That stalled front and an active jet stream, which typically would be up to the north now, is still hanging out over the south. That's what's prompting some of these isolated strong storms. We're going to see a more humid setup, at least with dew points in the 60s and highs getting closer to the upper 80s, but that means afternoon and evening thunderstorm chances tomorrow and again on Friday, though most of the day is going to be dry, sunny, and yes, somewhat humid. That is the first time I've said a lot of that here this summer as we're starting to see the temperature goes up. But we're not going to see the heat last long. In fact, it just barely gets above average here for the next 3 or 4 days. And then next week, another significant cool down, another trough on the East Coast, northeast winds. That's going to cool us back into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Now, rain chances pretty isolated the next couple days. Will dry out going into the weekend, but next week that northeast wind and that trough is going to give us a chance for better shower and storm chances into next week. You can see that cooler pattern. That's because of that trough that'll be over us for most of late next week. So the cooler temperatures sticking around, but not tomorrow. We're going to see the warm temperatures return, mid to upper 80s. Your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows a pretty warm weekend. Temperatures upper 80s to near 90. We might stay just below 90, but pretty warm for Father's Day, Juneteenth, looking like in the mid 80s. And then next week, here comes that cool weather. Temperatures upper 70s, low 80s as we look ahead to some cooler late month and late week temperatures next week.